Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader, where we just had this experience. Listen, we're alive. Technically we're alive, kind of, due to game mechanics. Several of us died at the hands of the the Chaos Marine, and sadly, Idira was irrevocably annihilated by a really well-placed shot from Pascal. But we're gonna just forget about all that, and everything's fine. And hey, look at that! We killed a space marine. Yeah, like I said, obviously they have to like soften the depiction, and in order to make them like fightable for just normal humans, and obviously like there's not a single unified answer as to how powerful and dangerous is a space marine. It's a little bit like Superman. You get your different authors, your different representations, but they're supposed to be like a truly horrifying opponent. Most stories in the 40k universe can reasonably end with, and then a single space marine showed up and solved it through violence. I think that like using a chaos marine here, especially after a series of large fights, hitting you when you're already injured, likely to be somewhat depleted. This is a really good climactic use of a space marine, provided provided that this was climactic. So, do we get his heavy bolter? We do. The bringer of terror. So you need bolter weapon proficiency. It is marked heavy, so heavy weapon proficiency will reduce that strength modifier. 20 armor penetration. Yeah, it's a weapon. Gosh, that's a weapon. Well, obviously we're taking it. He's also got a gem of dark vitality, which requires a heretical conviction. I don't know which level conviction is off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure we're not there. When veil degradation is above 15, your toughness goes up and you regenerate. That's pretty cool. Also, his cool sword. On a successful hit with this sword, the target must pass a toughness resistance test -5. On failure, the target suffers bleed and veil degradation is increased. Cut not just the target, but the very veil around them. And then if you are heretical, also you heal. Yeah, where's conviction? Give me. He's just got a las pistol in his other hand. Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Doubt is for the weak.
Conviction is it just rank 1? No, conviction heretical. I thought conviction would be one of the names of the levels, because you can see they're all, adherent, votary. Okay, I don't know what it is that makes you. I know once you go above a certain value, when one of the conviction branches reaches rank 3, it becomes that character's main focus. So maybe it's that. Maybe it's when you've locked one of them in as your conviction is when that's active. I don't know. That's pretty cool though. Those pretty cool weapons. I'm definitely going to try to pick up bolter proficiency on our main here. I want to be the heavy weapons character. Okay, so I don't remember which direction is front and is forward anymore. Oh, right, forward is to the one working shuttle.
Victory awaits.
I hope that we can still. Oh wait, hold on, everybody together, please. I hope that we can still get all of the people off of the planet on the one shuttle. I mean, the void ship's nearby. Theoretically, we can just do a couple of rounds of ferrying. We found here some skirmisher boots. Whenever the wearer deals damage to the enemy, the wearer has a chance to gain 2 MP. Pretty cool. Some decent medium armor. 35%. Not bad, not bad. Mazoa pattern swords. Also pretty. Honestly, I'm going to put these in. Always add to cargo zone. I think we have a couple of them already. Yeah. Dump these in there. A rebel sniper rifle. Okay, and a hotshot las pistol. which is better than a normal las pistol, one assumes. 6 to 8, 5%. 8 to 11, 35%. Yeah, it's better. It's like a lot better. Okay, we made it, I think. Obviously, this system is somewhat doomed. In an astronomical sense, I'm not really sure, like, when the star ceases to exist, all of the planets just sort of centripetal force outward according to the direction they were traveling forever, right? Like, the orbit is potentially maybe to be caught by future stars at some other point, but probably just kind of like, but probably they're just getting further away from each other forever. Okay. Foxmaster Vigdis says, "Thanks be to the Emperor, you are alive, your ladyship. We are most gratified by your return, and the crew is full of zeal to carry out any orders you may have. Before anything else, I will hear an account of what happened to the sun. Why did the sun go out?" "Lord Captain, we saw a number of ships approach the sun. Black creations of inhuman make, amalgams of sharp angles and edges. They surrounded the star, and then... My apologies, but I struggled to find words that could describe that terrible sight. The Xenos made the sun vanish into the void." I wonder if they destroyed it or if they just, like, took it somewhere. Heinrichs closes his eyes and grimaces. Drukhari. You see Abelard's expression change as if a shadow has suddenly fallen over him. He rubs his temple wearily. As if we did not have enough troubles on our hands already. The Xenos, enemies of humanity? Look at me, passing my check. Heinrichs nods. A breed of the Eldari, the most cruel and devious of their kind. The design of their ships matches the description provided by the Voxmaster. So these are Dark Elder. Drukhari is the name for the Dark Elder, I guess. They kind of renamed everything a little bit to make it more legally distinct from uncopyrightable concepts at some point, and I guess this might be the new names. Like all Xenos, the Drukhari are a blight on the face of the galaxy, but their technological superiority is indisputable. They abhor and fear warp sorcery, which is why they rely on creations of their twisted intellect. And many of those creations are capable of things that may seem akin to sorcery to the unenlightened eye. The theft of a sun is one example of what they are capable of. Oh. Okay, so we should never meet any of these people then. That sounds extremely bad. Are they in league with Aurora's cultists? I mean, that's a weird way to put that. Are Aurora's cultists serving them is probably the correct question. We could rule out that possibility. The Drukhari would never ally themselves with the archenemy's worshippers. If I had to name one thing that humanity and these Xenos have in common, it would be a shared loathing for warp corruption. So maybe the Drukhari showed up and poofed the sun to prevent it from being used by Aurora in some way? Heinrichs glances around. The situation calls for immediate action, Samhain. We can continue this conversation later if you so wish, but right now, he gestures at the deck teeming with tumultuous activity. I believe you should assume command. What do you mean assume? I am in command. We are having a conversation, Heinrichs. I command you to fucking chill out a little bit. Okay, well, what is the current situation on board then? Taking orders from the Inquisition. The Navigator's Sanctum is no longer empty, but the warp engine is still refusing to obey the engineers. Without it, we cannot perform a warp jump. Pascal's voice buzzes anxiously from his Vox. It may be angry, or perhaps it is lamenting the injuries it has suffered. I will immediately initiate preparations for a prayer service. If the Omnissiah grants me comprehension, I will appease the machine spirit of this vessel. Okay, I cannot think of anybody better to do it. Alright, what is happening on the planet now? Our augur operators are reporting numerous uprisings and other manifestations of the archenemy's powers at various locations on the planet. Based on the fragments of communications picked up by our Vox operators, there is practically no resistance being offered by the governor's forces. Millions of people are converting to the blasphemous Final Dawn cult en masse and assembling in prayer circles. Well, that sucks shit. I mean, they saw the sun go out. That's, like I said, that's going to be a pretty big boot to the morale. Okay, why did you not send a shuttle to the planet for me? I do apologize, your ladyship, but we were unable to receive your request for evacuation. The Vox link was overrun with vile interference, screams, blasphemous hymns, and other equally sinister noises. Any who listened to the interference for a protracted period lost their sanity. Several dozen operators went mad monitoring the Voxcaster in the hope of hearing your voice. Each one of them waited in vain. Okay, fair enough, but you still should have sent a shuttle. Like, you should just put two and two together and be like, okay, maybe there should be a shuttle down there. Do we have any hope of retaking the planet? I fear that Rykad Minoris is lost. The situation is deteriorating by the minute. We must leave this system as soon as possible. Okay, I mean, alright. However, there are still people on the planet who have not succumbed to heresy and who are worthy of rescue. Besides the small number of our own shuttles, we also have the shuttles salvaged from the starport. Not as many as might have been nice. The dark eyes of the Sister of Battle flash. But we must save as many as we can. This has all happened for a reason. Saint Argenta, whose name I carry with reverence and trepidation, is famed for saving the people of a dying world through the power of prayer. The God Emperor himself sent a star from the heavens that lifted the saint and her followers up to the sky, away from corruption and death. We must do as she did, direct all our efforts to saving those people who at this moment look to the heavens in hope of salvation. Alright, listen, I don't know why everybody's saying this like they have to argue me into it. Yes, obviously we're going to save the people. We're going to do it with the power of spaceships, not prayer, but we're going to save everybody we can. The lives of peasants are of little value. Our prime objective is to save the Holy Relic, the miraculous fusion reactor, and the electro-priests who guard and tend to it. Okay, they are also people who need to be saved. Abelard furrows his brows. And every moment we spend in proximity to a dying world, we are putting ourselves at risk. Your life, Lord Captain, is far more valuable than all of Rykad Minoris. The Von Valancius dynasty cannot be allowed to perish, and so, lamentable though it is, we must rule out the idea of any evacuation. Abelard, wrong as always. Henrix's eyes, like two deep dark pools, are resolutely fixed on you. The world is doomed. And its inhabitants along with it. The disappearance of the star was the final nudge toward death, the finale of the Cult of the Final Dawn's plans. I once witnessed a similar event, a world that had surrendered to the servants of the archenemy and permitted corruption to enter too deep. At this moment, millions of people are bowing down before those who promised them salvation, and they are willingly giving over their souls to chaos. A sacrifice great enough to bring forth a demon world. Our only hope of stopping this process is to retreat to a safe distance and conduct targeted bombing of the Electropriest Monastery. If we blow up the reactor, a thermonuclear reaction will follow. The world's oxygen will evaporate, killing off the entire biosphere. In doing this, we will save millions of souls from a fate far worse than death, and we will save Rykad Minoris from becoming an outpost of the archenemy. Only death can rescue these people. The Undying One has reached out his hand to this world. It is time for him to reap his harvest. We must not reject his design, lest millions of names never reach him and instead perish in the depths of the Empyrean. Death is a mercy, Dominsauen. Whatever fate you choose for this world, I urge you to make haste, Lord Captain. Then why are we all standing around and talking in turn? The planet is burning in raging flashes of crimson and purple. I can see it even from orbit. As do I see that the storm is already upon us. With every moment that we waste, it grows ever more difficult and perilous to steer the ship through the warp's turbulent currents. I'm with the lady on this. Enough talking. We need to get out of here while we still can. Something lurking in the depths of your consciousness bristles at the passing thought of saving people. The spike of horror you feel takes your breath away. It is as if you are planning to steal the prey of a mighty predator. The planet is already wrapped in a thread stretching out from the warp. It deserves to have a new master. Alright. Which of the planet's inhabitants can we evacuate? The nobles you rescued at the starport have given the coordinates of shelters where we can find surviving aristocrats and their families. As for Sergeant Malgar's troops, they will help to control the crowds of frightened commoners and prevent the shuttles from being overloaded. Thanks to you, we have salvaged many shuttles from the starport that we can now use. Okay, I guess more shuttles survived than it looked like, but we sure did let that Space Marine gut 3 of them with basically his bare hands. I mean, you know that I'm not saving the nobles. I think everybody who's here is already familiar with that one. I'm trying to figure out what I think our character thinks about the concept of the miraculous fusion reactor. Because to me, the plan of rescue some people, rescue as many people as we feasibly can, and then do the plan of blowing up the fusion reactor and burning out the planet's atmosphere seems like the way to go. I guess I don't really understand what's so miraculous about this fusion reactor, and it's certainly the case that, like, this ship must have many more powerful reactors aboard it in order to function, right? So that said, the tech priests and stuff, like, those are people too, and I hate to put it this way, but, like, useful. Those people have significant mechanical utility. I do not have a good sense of whether we are going to be able to make a couple of swings here. What I would like to do, I guess, I think what someone would like to do is try to save commoners and also the electro priests. If I ask this first question, I'm wondering if we'll get a little bit more of a sense of, like, how effective our rescue is going to be. Why can we not try to evacuate at least some of the people? Which is a weird way to ask the question when we obviously can. For the simple reason that the transformation process will soon become irreversible and our sole weapon against it useless. The energy released by the bombardment could stoke the warp energies. I have never witnessed the aftermath of bombing a demon world before, but there is enough evidence of such attempts for me to say with confidence that you do not want to see it. Okay, so if we go in to save anybody, we're not blowing the reactor. I do, like, I also, the other thing I wish I could ask, and I don't think there's any way to get this information, is, like, what number of people we're talking about here. Because if the number of commoners is, if the number of commoners that we could reasonably save given our number of shuttles is, 2 or 3 or 10 times the number of priests, then that makes it a lot easier to say, yeah, the commoners. If it's going to be the same number of people either way, I think we're going to save the priests. That's still saving people who deserve to be saved, people who are not resolutely evil and selfish and monstrous. any more than anybody else, because obviously there's going to be a fair amount of that going on amongst the commoners too. And then it has an important strategic value as well. And if we can take a second swing, then also commoners. But like this is still saving people, as many people as we can. Any delay caused by loading and transporting to the ship will cost us precious time. Do not deceive yourself, Samhain. If you indulge your vanity, you will doom billions to eternal torment at the hands of the archenemy. And do not forget yourself, interrogator. One more objection from you, and I shall forget all about the need to deliver you to Footfall alive. You detect a flicker of something beneath Henrik's sanguine mask. Whatever it may be, it does not seep into the interrogator's dispassionate voice. In that case, I consider it necessary to point out that the mark of the archenemy could infiltrate the ship with the priest escorting the reactor. Keep that in mind for the future. Consider it done. It is likely our shuttles will have capacity to evacuate some people as well. Excellent. Have the pilots extract as many commoners as possible, anybody who's not obviously converted, and fuck the nobles. Make sure that when you leave the ground, both of your middle fingers are out the window so that the nobles can see. That's more her talking than me, but it's not me talking. Consider it done. This will bring us to the limit of our capabilities. We have no more shuttles to use in the evacuation effort. So I wonder if the ability to make two choices from that menu is based on the amount of time that it took us to kill the Space Marine, or it's unclear. But I probably will look up the mechanics of that after the episode, because I am very curious. The bridge is in upheaval. The Technomat's prayers mix together in a senseless cacophony while servitors work hastily to remove a hardened crust of sacred unguents from the warp engine's components. In the middle of all this tumult stands Pascal with a data slate clutched in his hands, seemingly disconnected from the flurry of activity around him. What is going on here? The warp sextant is not responding to commands. The ship's spirit is rejecting our prayers in anger. I am currently calculating a plea that might appease the noble spirit. Okay. Well... It seems strange to say, I kindly request that you take charge of it. Is he not? He seems to be in charge. He seems pretty in charge. I am not going to call him a blasted cog. And I'm sure he well understands that we will all perish if he does not act swiftly. That's reinforcing that I don't think is going to be helpful. I mean, he's in charge. He should be in charge. Crew, heed the word of Magus Hanuman. Pascal, I kindly request that you take charge of this mess. Thank you, your ladyship. You are right. Pascal's voice changes when he addresses the crew. He now speaks with authority and resolve. Tech comrades, heed my instruction. The mayhem immediately subsides, and the crew's actions fall into some indiscernible logic. The Omnissiah's servants start working in sync, and the binaric clamor becomes a symphony of reports, which the Magos coordinates like a skillful conductor. Yeah, there we go. Easy. Admirably done, Pascal. The Omnissiah guides me. The prayers of the tech priests surrounding the cogitator almost drown out the sounds of the bustling bridge behind you. Pascal, poring intently over the data slate in his hands, extends a mechadendrite toward you. Please, take your place at the cogitator, Lord Captain. Maybe you tell me what we're doing first here, huh? I studied the data and discovered a machine node that was damaged as a result of the heretic's sabotage. The functioning of the warp sextant was tampered with, and the ship's spirit, aggrieved by this violation of the right of operation, is now rejecting its calculations. I sought a way to rectify this error and have concluded that your participation is necessary to do so. Because the ship trusts me, or... The cogitator systems of this Temple of the Omnissiah are subordinate to the shell whose repository serves the machine we see before us. a machine created for your predecessor and one that uses the biological signatures of dynastic blood in its computations. The spirits should recognize the ship's mistress and submit to her will. Should. Pascal speaks the final word with a slight tremor in his synthesized voice. Yeah, okay. Should indeed. The huge machine in front of you is lit with dozens of vid screens and hundreds of lumens. The blinking lights and endless rush of symbols and digits on the green background make your eyes water, and a vague sense of alarm simmers in the depths of your mind. The typical reaction of a layperson when confronted with the magnitude of the Omnissiah's creation. Among the numerous controls, you see the mouth of a cyber gargoyle, the same as at the gate to the warrant chamber. Pascal's voice becomes imbued with imperious force. Servants of the machine god, heed my command. Acolytes, prepare the incense instrumentation for the liturgy of machine spirit propitiation. Senior technomants, recite the prayer to generate the current data report. Sorry. Very serious stuff here. Recite the prayer to generate a current data report. Operations will be marked with the campanological protocol Omnissiah Rejoice. I must inform you that for the purposes of safety, complete reassembly of the warp sextant and updating of its datasmith blessings are required. If this is not done, then at launch, the volume of aggregate calculation errors could result in the destruction of the data crypts. But as we do not have 100 hours at our disposal, we must omit this procedure. Pascal looks down at the data slate in his hands. A minor deviation from the rite of operation, for the sake of appeasing the spirit. Deviating from the rite, is that a good idea? That sounds dubious. Dogma bids that the appropriate rituals of cleansing and reassembly be carried out on the warp sextant. It is a long and labor-intensive process. Pascal hesitates before continuing. Our best chance is to bypass the sacred prohibition on directly interfacing with the conduits of the motive force. A faster and less orthodox route. Oh, we'll just jam my face directly into the electric current, shall we? Well, I passed a logic test to be able to say this. The lives of the entire crew now depend on my convincing the ship's spirit to start up a broken component. Is that right? Your interpretation is verging on tech heresy. However, given your rank, Lord Captain, I will nevertheless respond. For a layperson, you have described our position with relative accuracy. I place my hopes in his revelations and humbly ask for his guidance. Okay, what exactly do I do? Place your hand inside the throat of the Cogitator Guardian, the Cyber Gargoyle, which has been assigned to guard the forbidden data crypts. The dynastic blood extracted from your veins will serve as a key to the data core where the machine spirit dwells. To it we will offer our prayers so that we may bypass the protective protocol for defective connections and launch the warp sextant. The laws of the Omnissiah know no exceptions. So in this ritual I will remain at your side to placate the wrathful machine spirit in whose abode you will be intruding. Follow my liturgies, Lord Captain, and we may receive his blessing. Okay, here we go. I'm just gonna jam my whole hand. This thing is gonna bite my fucking arm off. The metal jaws clamp down on your hand, breaking your delicate corporeal sheath. What a nice way to put that. And releasing warm red liquid into its gullet. At the same moment, the image on the vid screen before you changes. Connecting. Okay, it's doing something. I'm not just going to touch stuff if I wasn't told to touch stuff. Gesture at the vid screen. What does it all mean? At the sound of your voice, the Cogitator's servant, whose bronze-bound skeleton is built into the Cogitator housing, shudders. With a screech, its skull rotates toward you and then stops in that position. Benevolent code of voice receptor! Pascal emits a sequence of binary signals and then is silent for several seconds. I hypothesize that the defect is located in the analyzer block. I register a reaction to the signal, but no processed response. A temporary override is permissible. The Magus intently studies the vidscreen. The shell was created on a forge world unknown to me, initiating standard invocation of the machine spirit. Pascal leans over the adjacent instrument panel and sets his hands on the controls. At the same time, a quiet stream of machine code begins pouring forth from his Vox. I'm going to say what should I do now instead of touching random keys on the instrument panel, because my voice seems to help. Lord Captain, I now ask you to address the machine spirit. Speak the following command. By my authority, I revoke the inviolability protocol of the warp engine. The voice receptor will receive the vocal entry. Without your sanction, the machine spirit will not accept the data from the warp sextant. Okay, by my authority, I revoke the inviolability protocol of the warp engine. That seems like an extremely major thing to do, but living is important. One of the cogitator's vid screens turns red. Pascal sees this and raises his hand, signaling to the rest of the tech priests, then withdraws a connector from his sleeve and connects it to the machine. Servants of the Omnissiah, make now the offering of cleansed data crypts to the machine spirit, so that it may be filled with our true and calibrated data. May the Omnissiah have mercy on our souls. In meek solemnity, the acolytes offer up the cleansed data crypts to the warp engine one after another, repeating the prayers of exaltation. After anointing the contacts with sacred unguents, Pascal inserts them in the cogitator's slots. Your head begins to spin from the holy censer's foul-smelling clouds of smoke and from the loss of blood that the cyber gargoyle continues to drink from you, and the world swims before your eyes. Now listen, I'm not an expert on Warhammer 40k era technology. I do know a fair amount about computers and the general function of electronics, and I do not think that you should be smearing your thumb drives with shit before you plug them into the computer. There is no way that could possibly be helping. Let this mechanism awake in renewed purity. Pascal enters a sequence of commands and raises his head, watching the vid screens. Suddenly, he stops dead. No. His fingers fly over the command runes, entering command after command. His mechadendrites, clicking their pincers, pull at one lever after another. The vid screens fill with strings of symbols, completely incomprehensible to you, but clearly conveying something to the Magus. What is happening? After a few seconds, one of the data crypts mounted on the cogitator begins to emit sparks. A moment later, another does the same. The next bursts into flame and gives off foul-smelling smoke. Around you, the Omnissiah's servants break off from their prayers, and someone bursts into frantic pleading. Pascal mournfully grates out, "The mass of errors in the warp sextant's calculations is destroying the data repositories. The offering did not appease the ship's spirit. The warp engine cannot be filled with the motive force. We are trapped." A moment later, the Magus continues uncertainly. Perhaps an alternative Ryzen protocol, or an emergency launch of the auxiliary coils. The tech priest bends over the cogitator, but something in his pose and movements reveals his desperation. While the other vid screens are filled with more and more strings of symbols, the monitor in front of you blinks, and its static image changes. Pascal is too engrossed in his ritual to notice. Okay, what does it say? Okay, input, pack comp, nom os stab true, nom os stab false, stat check init, perturb reg, disturb reg, nom os operat resp query. Machine spirit, can you hear me? The cogitator's servant creaks quietly in its joints, a sound that is drowned out by the Beneric hymns and the tapping of command runes. Operator resp injury, operator resp rescue, operator resp query. Interesting. So it needs it's responding to my blood and my voice. Either that or I'm having a hallucination, due to all the blood loss and the smoke and everything. Is this a pray with it thing, or is this a like, what is it expecting? Let me try the short version. Rescue, yes, machine spirit, rescue us. Pascal turns to you. Lord Captain, the excess emotion in your command will render it unintelligible to... Pascal's next vocalization goes unsynthesized as he sees the vid screens begin to stabilize one after another. The strings frenetically galloping across the green background are replaced with stable images or regularly updating status reports. Only one monitor remains inexplicably red. It's that one right there. I appreciate that they made the prop actually look like that. The tech priest's voice crackles in shock, but his report is as clipped and clinical as ever. Registering. Warp sextant activated. Registering. Data stream stabilizing. Registering. 0 data errors found. Reporting. The warp engine is ready for translation. After a pause, Pascal adds, I am also reporting evidence indicating a Category 3 miracle fulfilling the criterion. Thou shalt witness the mechanism that toils in glorification of its function and in defiance of deactivation. Master Helmsman Ravor, who apparently has been here the whole time, says, oh no, okay, this is a Vox message, I think. Lord Captain, Ravor here. The crew are almost finished carrying out the orders given earlier, and have just received confirmation from the engineering halls. I don't know what you did, but the warp engine's up and raring to go. We're ready to begin translation to the warp, your ladyship. Yeah, Lord Captain speaking. I give the order to commence translation. Waiting for you to ascend the captain's throne, Lord Captain. May the Emperor protect us. Yeah, we have plenty of time to talk about what happened and how miraculous it was or wasn't after we get the fuck out of here. In addition, I guess I would say, until we have gotten the fuck out of here, I don't know that we know how miraculous it was or wasn't. Oh, this is neat.
The Von Valancia's flagship made its way out of the doomed star system. As the void shift plunged deeper into the Coronis expanse, the rogue trader's subjects bid a formal farewell to the late head of the dynasty, Theodora von Valancius. Having paid their last respects, the crew gathered their strength and braced themselves for whatever was to come next.
Alright, it only took me like 30 episodes to get through chapter 1. Lord Captain, allow me to report. Our journey through the warp is coming to an end. Lady Navigator Orselio informs me that we have reached the point where we can translate to real space in the Furibundus system. The Lady Navigator and her pilots are awaiting your permission to begin the process. The Furibundus system is home to Footfall, the only Imperium outpost with a functioning wharf in the Coronis expanse. The tech priests are begging you to have mercy on the machines worn down by the warp and allow the servants of the Omnissiah to inspect and heal the void ship's wounds in the dock. The prayers and rituals will take some time, which our astropathic choir will use to establish a connection with the prime worlds of your protectorate, Dargonus, Janus, and Kiava Gamma. Master Zachary Weiss has recovered an invitation previously adrift in the Immaterium. The Liege of Footfall has humbly requested an audience with the rogue trader of the Von Valancius dynasty. According to Master Zachary, the message was tinted with shades of pleading. I quote, "Apparently, the Liege is anxious to meet as soon as possible." Footfall, the place where filth and sanctity go hand in hand. Reverend Hieronymus Doloroso will likely expect a visit from me. I imagine he will be interested in talking to you as well, Samhain. I will be leaving your void ship when we arrive on Footfall, Samhain. Once that is done, consider the Lord Inquisitor's task complete. Your ladyship, young Yvain Winterscale has asked me to convey his gratitude for your hospitality and for saving him from certain death. Not wishing to outstay his welcome, he plans to disembark at Footfall. Lord Yvain swears he will not forget his debt to you. I hereby inform the rogue trader that during a comprehensive system inspection rite, this unit discovered data clusters within the captain's cogitator that are concealed from prying eyes by means of a personal cipher and a sacrament of algorithmic authorization. Unit Samhain von Valancius has been added to the access list and assigned the identifier Keeper 2. The unit can access the data from the captain's cogitator, provided that she possesses the decryption key. You detect a hint of something resembling curiosity in Pascal's mechanical voice. Thank you once again for rescuing my squad, Rogue Trader. We will disembark on Footfall. The trail of evidence leads to the docks, and it wouldn't hurt to pay the Liege a visit. I am sure he will graciously extend his cooperation to the Arbites. Solomon, is there any assistance I can provide in your investigation? Right at this moment, unlikely. We have a considerable amount of dirty and routine work ahead of us, such as checking cogitator logs and questioning the station's residents, including its less palatable individuals. None of that is worth the rogue trader's time, I assure you. Still, should circumstances change, I will absolutely welcome the aid of such a dependable ally as yourself. Okay, Argenta, who is this Reverend Hieronymus who wants to speak to me? He's the head of the Derusian mission on Footfall, and one of the most prominent clergymen in the sector. Paying him a visit is a good thing for any loyal servant of the Emperor to do. I assisted his mission there before I joined Lady Theodora on her voyage. I need his blessing to accompany the new rogue trader of the Von Valancius dynasty. If you wish to have me aboard your void ship, I request that we meet with Reverend Hieronymus. Well, I do wish that, for sure. The shed blood has washed away from the taint the shed blood has washed away the taint from our bodies. It is only right that we now wash our souls with the blessings of the servant of the Undying One. The Drusians, like the blood-spun web, are devoted to asceticism, rejecting wealth and luxury and surrendering themselves to his service. Though their thread is different from ours, the first spinner spoke of them with respect. Okay. What else do I need to know about Footfall? It is the largest port and the trading capital of the Coronis Expanse. It has a dockyard that will allow us to inspect and repair the void ship, and it boasts its own astropathic choir, the Coronis Expanse's communications nexus. Not to mention pirate hideouts, smuggler caches, and forts belonging to a dozen gangs, groups, and factions. In the Coronis Expanse, the Imperium relies on this as its outpost. The fringes of humanity's domain rarely resemble its central worlds, but so long as Footfall serves the God Emperor, insofar as it can, it will be considered a citadel of the Imperium. Although I have heard that the tithes it sends are underwhelming, to say the least. Due to Footfall's remoteness, it has developed its own rules and customs. Many of the goods that can be procured there would be considered heresy in the heart of the Imperium, enough to warrant summary execution. Moreover, Footfall is the domain of the rogue traders, who transcend certain imperial laws by virtue of the warrant they bear. Okay. And of course, Footfall is just a brief stop. What comes next? Well, as soon as we've solved the issues plaguing the ship and established contact with the key worlds of your protectorate, the time will come for your Magna Accessio, the official ceremony of donning the mantle of Rogue Trader. It is mostly a formality at this point. You already possess all the privileges granted by the warrant. And yet it is a major milestone in your personal history, the moment your name graces the list of heads of the Von Valancius dynasty. We are all looking forward to that day, Lord Captain. Alright. Abelard, do you know anything about the Liege of Footfall? Well, Vladyam Tokara is a very peculiar young man. Consider your upcoming conversation a baptism of fire in Footfall's political arena. Such things are not spoken out loud, but Liege Tokara is the appointee of the Kazbalika Mission, the largest robber baron crime syndicate in the Calixis sector. They specialize in the cold trade, the buying and selling of all kinds of Xenos rubbish. Footfall was previously run by a liege who did business with several criminal factions at once, but he suffered an accident. The reins of power were picked up by Vladyam maybe? Tokara, whose appointment benefits not only the Kazbalika, but also their most powerful ally in the Coronis Expanse, rogue trader Caligos Winterscale. Vladyam is a slippery yet cautious fellow, very cautious fellow. He does not usually beat around the bush and does not play mind games. Perhaps more importantly, he is no fool. Fools do not rise this high in Kazbalikan hierarchy. Keep all this in mind. You are a rogue trader. You stand above him in status and wield considerable power. Having said that, history has seen cases where the Kazbalikan barons crossed sword with rogue traders and emerged victorious. Do not forget that. Stay vigilant. The Kazbalika. Vile tech thieves. Pascal's Vox barks out the last word like a profanity. Alright, well, I think I understand the situation. Tell the Lady Navigator I give her leave to make the translation from the warp into real space. She knows what she's doing, I assume. Vigdis begins issuing instructions. The massive ship appears to change with her every word. The bridge is set in motion as hundreds of people start to prepare for the shift to real space, and measured chanting fills the corridors to safeguard the vessel and its crew. Vigdis turns to you again. One more thing, Lord Captain. No one at the station knows about Lady Theodora's demise and you inheriting the title. Liege Tokara will be informed. It is required so we can use the dock, and besides, he is expecting a personal audience with the rogue trader. He will not meet an unknown person of unclear standing. However, there is still the matter of announcing your arrival. You can either arrive on the station with the proper pomp and ceremony, or choose to visit it incognito. Well, why don't you tell me in detail how these choices will benefit me? Explain to me the mechanical benefits of this choice. Well, according to Footfall's unwritten laws, rogue traders enjoy special privileges that exceed even the power of the liege. However, they may choose not to exercise those privileges in certain situations. Arriving incognito will give you more room for maneuver, while an official visit will allow you to directly intervene in local affairs. I shall explain, if you do not mind. As per this unwritten rule, every rogue trader arriving at the station has the right to veto any of the Liege's decisions. What? That's crazy. But there is a catch. The Coronis Expanse is home to several influential rogue trader dynasties, and Footfall is where their interests intersect. Of course, that does not prevent certain persons, namely Caligos Winterscale, from subtly pulling strings on Footfall. If you, as a new rogue trader, start your career with an official landing and a parade in your honor, the other dynasties may see this gesture as the newcomer challenging their spheres of influence. Now, I do not see that as a bad thing, necessarily. Old Man Winterscale may take slight offense, Cordo will be put on her guard, but you have just risen to prominence, and most people in the Coronis Expanse have not even heard about Lady Theodora's departure yet. It must be made clear that the banner of Von Valancius soars as high as ever. If I may, I would recommend arriving incognito. You will have plenty of opportunities to savor the sweetness and burden of power, but right now is the last time you can take refuge in obscurity. This way your arrival will not draw much attention, and the people will treat you as a person and not the almighty sovereign anointed by the Emperor. It could turn some situations to your advantage. Yeah, this is my my preferred inclination here. Like, if we make a big noise when we land, then I get some authority right away, but it's going to be so much harder for us to get a good grasp of the situation. Like, every interaction we have is going to be modulated by the fact that the people we're interacting with know that I'm a person to hide things from, and so on. I think we definitely need to be incognito as long as we can. It will be done, Lord Captain. Vigdis bows again. With your gracious permission, I will return to my duties. So yeah, hopefully we can get the lay of the land before the land gets the lay of us, is the sentence that just came out of my mouth. And I don't think that's really a great way to express the thought I was having. Okay, one of your conviction branches has reached rank 2, Adherent. Once it reaches rank 3, Votary, it becomes your main conviction. After that, you'll still be able to choose dialogue options referring to the other branches, but those branches cannot be raised above rank 2. Yeah, I saw it, I know.
I'll pass.
I was just... I attempted to fire my Inferno pistol. She was like, nah, I don't want to do that here, actually. The farthest limits of the Corona Expanse are terra incognita for humanity. Only the bravest, boldest, or most deranged voidsmen dare to steer their ship toward the unbeholden reaches. Lord Captain. Rever's voice over the Vox sounds weary rather than annoyed. I'm getting reports of several ships moving toward us. Judging by the fact that they're not responding to our hails and the telemetry shows a trail of macro batteries, they're not here for a chinwag. Ready to issue orders to prepare for battle at your command. What? Where did they come from? Why haven't you noticed them before? The rubbish of Furibundus. And I'm not talking about these wrecks that are... I'm not talking about these wrecks that are about to open fire. I mean the remains of meteorites, gas clouds, refuse from the shipyards. It all bunches together, and the smaller ships hide behind it to harass ships as they emerge from the warp. Could this be the work of Konrad Voigtveer? The silence over the Vox lasts for several seconds. It's possible. He could have hired some scum, or maybe it's just a pirate who saw the state of our ship and decided to push his luck. Well, on my order, all stations get ready for void combat. We're not going to try to evade this. We're going to do the thing. Someone has just done something foolish, and we are going to make them know it. Briefly, before they do not know anything at all. Okay, I'm very curious about this. So, we have a bunch of empty slots. We have a restart shields button. Initiates the process of restarting the shields. They'll be restored at the start of the flagship's next turn. Rerouting power to the shields reduces speed by 3 and firing range by 2. This is the Voss pattern torpedo tubes. Launches 4 torpedo salvos with plasma warheads in the selected location. They can move and attack starting from the next round. Each deals 19 damage on a direct hit and 13 damage within a 1-cell area on a miss, detonating due to a proximity fuse. We have a Mizoa lance weapon, dealing from 45 to 50 damage to a chosen enemy within a narrow firing arc. We have the ability to ram people. Damage is increased by 10% for each void movement point spent by the flagship to get to the enemy ship, but only after traveling at least 3 cells. The flagship is then slowed and unable to use prow-mounted weapons until the end of its turn. Can only be used during the acceleration phase. Oh, what phase are we in now? And then, of course, I have Mars pattern macro batteries. Short-range broadside macro cannons, which deal multiple shots. Okay. So we don't quite have the lance on this guy, but it feels like we could get there. It's not clear to me what the different regions represent, why some of it's dark and some of it's light green and some of it's dark green. But what if we just blasted this guy with our Mizoa lance? The answer is I would not do very much damage. Or any damage at all, it seems. Okay, that was something. So yeah, what was the deal with this? I mean, there were numbers, but they didn't... Well, whatever. None of our other stuff is going to hit right now, so I guess I'm good. Ah, okay. The ship must reach one of these end-of-phase cells to end the turn. I see. It seems like you want me to go an awfully long distance. Okay, I made a full move this time. So there's a yellow bar that we've had to shoot through twice now. Not sure what that is supposed to represent. Okay, you guys really do not do a lot of damage relative to my HP. So this is the best we can turn around right here. It's a big ship, you know? It's going to turn slowly. But we should be nowhere near being able to fire again. Ah, why are you fleeing? More importantly, why does it seem to be working? Somebody is going to be warned about my presence, and I don't care for it. What's the range on the lance weapon? The answer is pretty long, but not that long, probably. Yeah, and I'm not going to be able to aim at him. If I move far enough to be able to fire in his direction, we're going to be so far away still. Like, that's not even close to beam range. Alright, what I can do is, I suppose, move up like this. And then there's not going to be any meaningful shot anywhere. Oh, stop it. It does seem like it's just going to get away. I would love to pulse beam it from behind, but it does seem like it's going to get away. So if I were to make it to here... Oh, you're kidding me. He's one tile outside of lance range. Well, alright. That being the case, let's have some words with you instead. You're not outside of lance range, although you are outside of the range of all of my other weapons. Alright, we'll come about. Yeah, we got some damage in there. I assume it's jumping, given that it was counting down. Oh, I don't know how smart that is. Okay, the battle is over. Somebody ran, somebody got. We made a little bit of scrap. I mean, I kind of figured that first battle was going to be an extremely easy tutorial thing, but it does remind me that I was going to change the difficulty. So I don't think we need to make any other moves right now, right this second. We're definitely going to go down to some of these planets. I mean, it's got to be Footfall first, right? We got to head to Footfall. It sounds like that's where everybody's expecting us, and that's where everybody's in a hurry to get to. So that's not what I'm going to be doing right this second. What I am going to be doing right this second is turning up the difficulty a little bit. Not because of that last combat. Obviously, that would be easy no matter what. But just because I thought about this enough, and I think I'm into the idea. And then we're going to call it there for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I am very excited to dig into this new sector. Very excited to bring you all with me. So come back next time for our first steps on Footfall, and we'll see you then.